Okay, so we're doing a little detour today. Oh, I want to say a methodology point about the detour, right? So I should put this up, it's going to take too long to find. In Rambam's letter to Ovadia Hager, then he advises him to, Ovadia Hager is expressing his doubts about his ability to learn Hebrew. And Rambam says, just start with the Mishnah Torah, like it's written in basic Hebrew. And then he says, make the Mishnah Torah yours, like make it your book. Okay, so I asked Rabbi Zucker once how to make it my book. I know I've read this in Rambam Bekius before. I got to do it every little while. Yeah. That's it. There you got it. You can do it multiple times too. So Rabbi Zucker gave me the advice. He said, what you should do is you should go through all Taryag mitzvos, using the 4 places where the Rambam introduces the mitzvah, which is what we do, which is in the Sefer Mitzvos, in the Minyan Mitzvos at the beginning of the Yad, the Koseres, and then the first halacha. And then he said, and you should, whenever you encounter any area in halacha, look it up in the Rambam. Okay, like even if you're learning something else. And then I went one step further. This is when they first released the 1-volume Rambams. And so I took the Mishnah Torah with me everywhere I went for years. I took it in my backpack. If you've ever seen my Mishnah Torah, I mean, I have 6 of them, but the one that with the cover falling off, I think that was because I carried it around everywhere. And what I would do is whenever a topic came up, I would look it up. And the first time I did this was during Pesach when we were at a hotel. And I just spent the entire Pesach. Anytime I thought of a topic, I would look it up in the Mishnah Torah. And what it does is it reinforces it makes you see everything through the lens of Taryag. And even though this is just the Rambam Shita, you're seeing where it fits into the entire system. So the reason why I'm saying this now is because, this is going off of our topic, but I think this is exactly why the Mishnah Torah was the first hyperlinked document, in the sense that if you find something in Shas in the olden days without the Ein Mishpat Ner Mitzvah and all the side guys, and you wanted to explore it more, you wouldn't know where to look, right? But the Rambam, he wants you to be able to know and have an intuition where to find it in the rest of the Yad and look it up, So we saw yesterday that he says that if a guy comes to you, what?
I don't know, I think it's a little bit overstated that the Rambam is different than what they shot. I think the intention of the shot was also that you could find it. It just had more faith that you knew what thing more.
Oh, they had more what?
More faith in the reader knowing what a different topic were in the tomorrow.
Could be, but I'm not even sure. But I don't know if it was written it was not written topically. It wasn't,
No.
Yeah, right. In other words, the very fact that you have, how many mitzvahs, like he mentioned in, tzedakah, the halachos are scattered all over Shas, So I don't know if it was even written with that intent. So yesterday we saw that if a guy comes to you who's naked and says, clothe me, then you do have to check after him to see maybe he's not really poor. And then if you know him, then you cover him lefi kvodo. And we saw the R Avraham says naked doesn't mean naked. It means not dressed according to his level of kavod. So it could be dressed in worn out clothing or it's all ripped or whatever. So based on that, really based on our speculations, we went to this halachah and kavod abrios. So this is also in Sefer Zra'im, Hilchos Kilayim, which is right before Hilchos Matanos Aniyim. And we were all referencing this halacha, but we didn't read it. So let's read it. Haroa Kilayim. Did this come up in one of your shiurim recently? Oh, right, for last year. Okay, I feel like I heard people in the basement talking about it.
Oh, I was also wondering it.
Oh, okay. That's probably not where I heard it, but yeah. All right. Haroa Kilayim Shalatora Al-Chavera. If you see Kilayim, so shotness, right? What we call shotness.
I know with you.
Did it?
Recently with crossbreeding stuff with grafting.
But not this Kilayim though. No. Yeah. Not taking it. Yeah, the Kavod Brios thing. Yeah. No, I'm saying before that. Yeah. All right. So someone who sees Kilayim Shal Torah on his friend. So that's a shotness, right? Wool and linen. Afilu Haya Mahalach Boshuk. Even if he's walking in the market. I imagine whistling like the Mickey Mouse Steamboat Willie whistle. Okay. Kofetzlo, he should pounce upon him, v'koreo alav miyad, and tear it from upon him immediately. Okay. V'afilo haya rabo shalim zelo chachma. Even if it's his rav who taught him chachma, we will see in the Makbili why that's relevant. She'ein kavod abrios. Well, you can probably figure out why it's relevant. Kavod a rav, right? So even though you're mechuyev in being mechabit this person, she'ein kavod abrios doche iser lo saseh hamaforish b'Torah, because kavod abrios does not push aside an explicit lo saseh in the Torah. Okay, so that's the rule. Okay, so you got lo saseh, kavod abrios. That's not going to make any sense what I'm about to say. Kavod Bekius does not push. Yeah, so lo sase takes precedence. Whatever. We'll go. Yeah. Right. I was trying to fit in the Kavod Rav and others. Okay. All right. He says, "V'lama nidche b'hashev aveda." Why is it pushed aside when it comes to returning a lost object? Kamoshi is ba'er. Right, you know what? Maybe we should read the Makbili now because he'll fill us in on the details. So first of all, bashuk in the marketplace, b'merchav hatziburi, okay, in a public square, kofitz lo v'koro alav miyad, pounce on him and tear it off immediately. I'm picturing like a golem like leap on. Okay. Mistaver shemedubar kishibarur shehayehudi lovesh kilayim. So obviously you have to be certain that the Jew is wearing kilayim. Okay. The heir lo haroe v'halovesh sirev leposhto. And you point it out to the guy, the onlooker points out to the guy who's wearing it, and the guy refuses to take it off. In other words, you don't just tear it off, you tell the guy and give him an opportunity to take it off on his own, okay?
That's what the Rambam said. I mean, I know that there are causes.
That's what the Rambam says. Okay, yeah, right.
Well, in the Mishnah, the Gemara says you can just take it off.
Yeah.
Saying you can come it out when you don't rip it off.
Sorry, the Gemara says.
Gemara, it's more active with other ones.
Yeah.
It says that if you're wearing shotgun, then you have to take it off.
Yeah. So it doesn't.
It doesn't necessarily say that someone else.
Oh, someone else. Okay, fine. Yeah. All right, fine. So yeah, I don't think I've seen the Gemara in a while. This came up in a shavuot here. Okay, Rabbi Shalim do Chachma. Okay, fine. So he says because you're chayiv and kavod. Okay, let's skip that one. So then he says mipnei. So lama nidche b'hashev aveda. Why is kavod habrios, right, pushed aside in returning a lost object? So what is he referring to? So Makbili fills us in. Nidche b'hashev aveda. Mitzvah aseh lahashev aveda. So there's a positive mitzvah to return a lost object. See, we're learning about lost. No, we're not yet. Umitzvahs lo saseh shelo his'alim mimena, and there's a mitzvahs lo saseh to not conceal yourself from the lost object, right? Like don't pretend you didn't see it. Just like with tzedakah, really. Im haya chacham o zaken mechubad, but if you are a chacham or a revered elder, kivan she'afilu la'atzmo lo haya machzir, since you wouldn't even return it for yourself, meaning I guess it would be beneath your kavod to go and like fetch the thing. Who pater mi lahashiv es aveda labala, then you are pater from returning it to the owner, right? So let's just go over the case here. So someone sees a green dictionary on the ground, right? So if you're a regular guy, you see it and you pretend not to see it, you're over lo saseh. But if you're a great chacham and you see it, since it's beneath your kavod to pick it up for yourself, then you're pater from returning it to other people.
Meaning, like, had you lost it, you wouldn't have.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess to like the picture I get is like, Jeff Bezos drops $1 bill, even $100 bill, even $1,000 bill, then he's just gonna be, I'm not going to soil my knees by bringing them close to the dust. That's how he talks. In case you wonder. Okay. So why is it pushed aside? So the answer is mipneshu lav shebamamon, because it's a lo saseh that involves money. So who cares? Makbili says, Dini mamonos ba'im lahasdir es hayachasim hakalkaliyim bein bnei adam. Dini mamonos, the whole thing of like monetary laws, comes to arrange or to make in order the economic relations between people. Sheyidag kol adam lamamon re'eu, so that people will be concerned about the property of their friend. But it's not proper to push aside the kavod of the zaken because of this guy's mammon. Okay, that's a weird one. I mean, this is a whole sugya, right? But like, right? It sounds like he's saying that like that there is a. I mean, we see this in elsewhere also. That let's say, for example, that in certain cases when Chazal were setting up mitzvos, they weren't mechayiv you in a case where it's going to cause a hefsed mammon. That's not what he's saying, but I'm saying like. Oh yeah, hefsed mammon.
No, I'm talking about why in the image from Kavod one side,
right. So I've seen it by Derabanan. I have not seen this by a Deraisa, right? Like he's saying that the Losase Deraisa is pushed aside because of Kavod Zaken. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. So Velama nidche b'tumas meis. Why is it pushed aside for tumas meis? So what's the halacha there? Nidche b'tumas meis. Mitzvah akol adam likbor meis she'en lo mishi yikbor osa. So every person has a mitzvah to bury a dead body that no one is there to bury it. V'hu hanikra meis mitzvah. That's called meis mitzvah. Mitzvah zo chala al kol Yehudi gam imhu kohen gadol o nazir. This mitzvah falls upon every person, even if he's a kohen gadol, which is a great level of kavod, who also can't be involved in tumas meis, and then nazir, who can't come in contact with the dead. So why is that pushed? Is their status pushed aside? It's funny. It's not a kavod issue for them exactly, but since the Torah specifies for both the kohen and the nazir, apparently for his sister he may become tameh. Mipia Shmuel lamdu. Eno matame. Aval matame lemes mitzvah. So let's just see the thing here. Uparda kasuv b'chumash vayikra uv'chumash b'bar kasuv behetem she'asur l'kohen u'lanazir l'hitami l'meis. So it says it's asur for a kohen and a nazir to become tameh for a meis. B'sham nemar shagam la'achoso eno matame. It also says he cannot become tameh for his sister. Elas hash'ela, and the question is asked, Madua hizkir kasuv as achoso, as ta'achos. Why does the Torah mention it's his sister? But tshuvah, the answer is k'tei l'lamid shela achoso eno matame. It's to teach you that for his sister he may not become tameh, but for meis mitzvah he can be. So it's an exclusion that includes other any meis mitzvah. That's strange. Yeah, Yosef.
When you say mitzvah, was a person who died doing a mitzvah?
No, a dead body that you encounter that has no one to bury it. That's the case of meis mitzvah. Then anyone has to bury it. Yeah. Okay, fine. And then let's just do this one more thing here. So if the matter is asur midirabanan, meaning it's Kilayim dirabanan, harihu nidche, or I guess no, anything that's asur midirabanan, harihu nidche mipnei kavod habrios b'chol makom. It's pushed aside for kavod habrios in all places. The alpha p shekasu b'Torah lo sasur mikol hadavar, even though the Torah says do not deviate from everything that the rabbis tell you, which itself is a lo saseh, hari lav ze nidche mipnei kavod habrios. This is what the Shavuot was on. That lav is nidche because of kavod habrios. So in other words, like this. So now I can do the hierarchy thing.
I think so.
Okay, so lo saseh pushes aside everything. Okay, even kavod habrios.
Good for them to say.
Okay, hold on a second. But then kavod habrios pushes aside a lo saseh midirabanan, right? Except for not except for. Okay, so let me say that again. Okay, lo sasehs push aside kavod habrios except for the lo saseh of lo sasur.
Right.
And then you go kavod habrios, and that pushes that overrules lo isurim derabanan, right? And then you got the zakin and for a lav that's the mamon, the kavod of the zakin trumps that.
And then the kavod of the kohen gadol, or the status of the kohen gadol,
right? That's also a separate exception. Yeah. I want to do one more thing. I want to go back really quickly. So let's do our misreading of this. Let's say we assume that this nakedness is entirely like naked. So I think it would. Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. Fine. According to Avraham ben Rambam.
No.
And
according to him, also I don't think no.
Are you talking about in tzedakah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it doesn't mean arumim.
No, right.
It doesn't only mean arumim.
Right, it doesn't only mean arumim. Correct, right.
It means that more than arumim.
Right, but the thing though is that I thought we were saying yesterday that you would think that you would have to clothe him completely, even and not check it after him if he's. I know. Can you leave the guy naked? Right.
Well, I'm saying it don't sound like that.
That you can leave the guy naked, because it says Bokin Alcharav Shema Ramahu. Yeah, but what I want to show, based on the fact that we went through this, is I don't think that the kavod habrios thing doesn't mean that you. I don't think the kavod habrios thing means that you have to go. The kavod habrios is not mechayev you to do positive things. I don't think, right? The way that the Rambam's talking about it, at least, it's just that meaning, like if you see a naked person, right, like a drunk Noach, right. I don't think kavod habrios means that you. I don't think there's a thing. Kavod habrios says that I have to go cover him. That's how we were talking about it yesterday. And like the only evidence we're seeing, I mean, there might be other sugyas about this, but the only evidence we're seeing so far is Kavod Brios is a factor that you take into account about knowing, whether to stop the guy from doing Isser B'Yadayim or not. Yeah, Yosef?
Could you say that Kavod Brios would force you in that Kavod Brios could force you to push aside your bonds, limiting you on how much you could get?
Yes, you could probably say that, right? Yeah, that would make sense, right? Yeah, so that actually is a good argument, meaning that if Kavod Brios, it's a little confusing, right? Because the way we're learning it now, you have a chiyuv d'oraisa of de machzor asher yachzor lo. The question is, we don't know whether this guy is in that category because we don't know if he's an ani, right? So what Yosef is suggesting is the rabbinic requirements to check him out, right, to see whether he's actually poor, would be overridden if you have a naked guy standing in front of you, and you have to clothe him. It's an interesting argument. If he's fully naked, yeah, right.
That's why everybody said Rambam Bekius says that it's even if he's not fully naked.
Right, yeah. Can I just do one more quick thing? This is because I want to move on in tzedakah tomorrow. This is just something I was wondering. Based on that Avraham ben Rambam, that naked doesn't mean fully naked. I was wondering in brachos hashachar, the Gemara and the Rambam have it that you don't make all the brachos in a row. You make them when you do the action, and you only make the bracha if you are chayiv in the action, right? So, or if you do the action. So, for example, he says, when you hear the crow of the rooster, when you put on your garment, malbish arumim. Okay, when you put on your turban, rosha on your head, okay, then he goes on the list. But then he says, hold on. Then he says that if you're not chayiv in the bracha, you don't make it. And then he gives examples. Ketzad, for example, lan b'ksuso malbish arumim. If you slept in your garment, then you don't say malbish arumim when you get up. So I always assumed that the Rambam would hold that the only time you make malbish arumim is if you slept naked. But if you slept with any clothing on, then you wouldn't make malbish arumim. What I'm wondering now is if we see from Avraham ben Rambam that arum does not mean totally naked, it just means not wearing the clothing that are befitting of you. So then what I'm wondering is when the Rambam says lan b'ksuso, maybe he means if you slept in your waking clothes, like the clothes that you were wearing for the day. But maybe if you have sleepwear, pajamas or something like that, then you would make the bracha of malbish arumim when you put on your regular clothing. I don't know. I'm just wondering this now. This opens up a door to understanding that halacha. So I'll have to poke around and see. But yeah, okay. Tomorrow we will go on in the Rambam.